Yeah, it's a cookout. I love saying that. But do you hear that? Do you listen? Can you hear? It's time to cook. And I'm so excited today. I know you guys have been crying out for the recipe, asking, hey, what's up? Sliding in my DMs, in their DMs. Did you guys follow them, by the way? Please do. And then you're asking for the recipe. Now listen, today we are delivering. We are actually giving you what you've been asking. Good on us. I'd like to welcome my chefs from Chefs MJ. Please say hi.
Hi, morning.
Welcome so much. Angie, please say hi. Hi. Welcome everybody. Today we're going to be doing what? What are we doing today? What's the idea?
Well, today we're keeping it simple.
All right.
We're baking.
So wait, the past two cookouts we've been making complicated?
No, they're not complicated. I'm just saying in terms of the number of things we're doing.
Oh, okay.
We're baking today, so this can be a dessert. We're making a Victorian sponge.
Ooh, Victorian sponge.
Yeah, for me, in my opinion, it's the simplest sponge to make because there are very many different kinds of sponges with different procedures. This is the simplest one to make, and I think it's very conducive for beginners.
Making?
A Victorian sponge.
Oh, okay. Nice, nice. And what about on this side? What are we cooking?
So in as much as I'd love to say that we're going simple, you know, Angie's simplicity is complexity to another level. So we're going to have a pineapple crumble.
All right.
I'd like to call this a pineapple crumble with a twist because of the things we're going to incorporate. Usually, we don't add, aromatic spices. Like traditionally, you don't add aromatic spices into your crumble mix, but that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to make a pineapple crumble with some topping. Toppings are going to have different kinds of vibes going on. We have oats and we have nuts. And then we're also going to make a basic custard. En français is a crème anglaise.
Crème anglaise.
Yes.
Ooh, and question. Yes.
It's just English cream.
Oh, we're just being fancy now. All right. We're using the words we learned from composition. Okay, I get you guys. So wait, before we move on, I want to be practical. This dish, this sponge cake, Victorian sponge cake, right? Where am I going to apply it in my meals? At what sector of my meals?
You can eat it after your meal.
Oh, it's a dessert?
It's a dessert.
Ooh.
You can eat it with your tea.
Okay.
You can have it, honestly, whenever you want.
Okay, you are the master.
As long as you do it in moderation.
All right,
Yes.
everything in moderation. Yes. All right, and what about yours?
So the crumble is a good finish to a nice wholesome meal at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah? So it's a good finish because of the sweetness from the pineapple and the creaminess from the custard or the cream, basically.
Oh.
So it's a good finish, but it's something you can eat any other time.
Yeah, also because this one has warm spices, and right now it's very cold.
Yeah, for sure.
So like when you're in your house, let's say you're reading a book and it's cold and you want to be warm, it has the warm spices, you can have it with a glass of milk, you know.
Oh,
yeah.
so it's a go-to when
a
you...
comfort food.
I feel, when you're chilling. All right, so where do we start?
So we will start with the crumble.
The crumble?
It will take longer to bake.
Okay, so let's go.
Right. So guys at home, I think we're going to have the ingredients on the description.
Definitely, as we're going on, there'll be someone sorting you guys out. You won't be left to feel like, oh, they're not caring. No, we do. So we got you.
Right. So we have some all-purpose flour.
All right.
We have all-purpose flour. We have butter. We have some sugar. We have oats, and we have a mix of nuts.
Yeah.
So we have cashew nuts and almond nuts. So whichever way you feel about nuts, you can actually always just the way you're gonna feel.
Okay.
So what we're going to do for now, we have our pineapple that we already sliced prior.
Yeah.
So you can just slice and whatever number of cubes that you want to, whatever bite of pineapple that you want in your crumble.
Yeah.
Whichever way you deem fit.
All right.
So what we're going to start with, we're going to make the top.
The topping.
So yes, so the top, we have some all-purpose flour.
As we're going on, I'm sure people on set are so excited we are going to cook. I'd love us to concentrate, and I can't hear them when we're speaking, so I'd love to see and understand. And also you guys, please shout out your questions if you're wondering what's going on. This is all-purpose flour, simple stuff, and we will sort you out. The recipes as we go are being written down.
So the basic tools, or the simplest tools that you need for this particular top is your fingers.
Oh.
Your fingers, so that you can be able to feel, the texture. So there's a certain texture that we want to achieve. from this particular part.
Okay.
So we're going to season this first.
All right, yeah.
So we're going to season this first. So
Anything sweet needs a better.
So even in everyone, when someone is, you're sweet, I think this should be done. All right, some spice in it.
So here we have roughly a quarter teaspoon of some cardamom.
Huh?
Cardamom.
Cardamom, okay.
Cardamom spice.
Cardamom spice, all right.
So we're going to add some cardamom. We have some cinnamon.
All right.
Cinnamon has a very nice, warm, earthy kind of a taste.
Yeah, I've used it at home when there's no cocoa.
Really?
Yeah. Can it work?
So you used it on your tea?
Yeah, on my tea.
You just said you
For
used
your
it at home.
tea, that's okay.
Oh, okay.
So we have some ginger.
It's
Some ginger.
All those spices you can use in your tea.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not like I was, being cheap or anything. It's actually, I was living the Francais life.
And then, so this is an ingredient that we've used since Monday, nutmeg. And nutmeg is very potent and it's very strong.
Okay.
So please use it in very minimal amounts.
Moderation.
In moderation, like
Moderated.
this
more.
is about enough. This
Yeah.
is like not quarter teaspoon, almost an eighth of a teaspoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kidogo sana basically. To
Because if
layman.
you use a lot, it will overpower your dish. It will overpower everything else.
We want subtlety in the
Yeah.
dish, not excess.
You want the flavors to complement each other.
Okay,
You
nice.
don't want them to overpower each other.
And then another beautiful ingredient is black pepper. So black pepper is just not necessarily an ingredient, a spice that we have to use in our stews or dishes, like whole meals.
Yeah.
We can always play around with it.
And I was watching around, looking up YouTube because they say you have to know the craft. So there's actually white pepper, right?
Yes, there is white pepper.
What's the difference?
So the difference is in the heat levels and their subtlety.
Oh.
Because we have white pepper, we have pink peppercorns.
Wow.
So it's always
Just
good
the
to
The depth of the flavor.
Yeah, depending on whichever direction you want to head with your dishes, then you can always choose.
All
But
right.
black pepper is more wholesome,
Yes.
and it's more common,
Yeah.
and easily available. Not that white pepper isn't easily available, but if
It's commonly
you're
known.
looking to go towards things like pink pepper, then that's an extreme spot. You're actually really going to look for it.
It'll stretch.
And here we have some sugar.
So you added some salt first, I noticed.
So there was salt. So we always have to balance
All right.
ingredients. Yeah?
All right.
So we have some salt as well,
Yeah.
and then some sugar.
Okay.
So the sugar, we can always play around with also the textures in terms of sugar. You can add you can add brown sugar. You can add both the brown sugar and the granulated sugar. You can add honey.
Honey, yes.
is also a sweetener. And there's this type of sugar, I think it's called muscovado. Muscovado sugar, not easily available to us. You really have to really look for it.
Basic. Oh, naskari guru. If I want to go that direction.
You can actually jaggery.
Oh, yes, jaggery.
Yeah, but so the tendency of jaggery is that it usually has so many lumps.
Yes.
It has so many lumps, so you have to actually make it
Go all the way. Okay.
Yeah, so if you don't want to do this with your hand, you can actually mix everything with a whisk.
Can I help you do this? I'd love to get my hands into this.
Right. So
Let me wash my hands as you
you
go.
can wash your hands first.
It's very important.
And then we'll show you the technique for mixing the butter.
There's a technique to mix it. Sika chapo because I'm not.
No, it's chapati.
I'm learning.
So here we have some room temperature butter, but it's always good if you use cold butter. Cold butter is easy to sift through and to get the kind of consistency you're looking for. So we're going to add in our butter. It's always good if you cut it into,
As you're going on, somebody commented last Tuesday, Wednesday. They
Right.
asked, "Is butter healthy?" And we got into a conversation with Angie. And actually, when she was explaining to me, I got that butter is actually a better way to go rather than going margarine.
Definitely.
And I hear margarine is actually Explain it.
If margarine doesn't have any animal product in it,
Yeah.
so we can call it vegan.
Okay.
But it's a lot of saturated fat. Butter, on the other hand, is just cream.
Oh.
It's cream.
Nothing, no additives, nothing, just simple.
Okay, depends on who's making the butter.
All right.
Sometimes they add salt. When we're baking, we use unsalted butter.
Okay.
But it's just cream. So, is it healthy? not necessarily in the way probably not using butter would be healthy, but it's healthier than margarine. And as long as you do everything in moderation, you shouldn't have a problem.
And it's actually cheaper here compared to margarine?
No, it's
in terms
not.
of
Margarine
Definitely
is
not
the-
cheaper.
Margarine
Oh.
is way cheaper.
It's easier to go to. So I think it's a scam. I want us to go for the easier ones. I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
I see what they're doing.
So when we're mixing this, the dry ingredients with the butter, you want to, you want to crumble everything, and the kind of texture that you're looking for is more like breadcrumbs that are damp. Yeah?
Yes.
So you want to look for that kind of consistency. So you can come in
as
here,
you go. Okay.
and you
Should
can
be very
just keep
interesting.
on, just make sure you mix everything together.
Okay.
Everything has to be
This
mixed
should not
together.
be very difficult.
Should not.
It's ABCD, so
Yeah.
they're doing it.
So you can go ahead,
Awesome.
and then I think probably meanwhile we can
Okay.
go to the Victoria sponge.
Oh, as you're about to go, I'd like to welcome my favorite assistant, Daiji. Welcome on stage. Please welcome. And I didn't even introduce you. That's not fair. Is it? Come say hi and tell us that you'll be representing the gang online and say something to guys. Say hi.
Hi, my name is Daiji Akunga,
Yeah.
and as Brian said, I'm his last one actually. In
Yeah, we're in the same
Ambassadors-
family, by the way. Go family for woo.
In Ambassadors, we have this thing where they've grouped us into families. So I'm in his family, and I guess I'm the last one, So I'm his favorite, that's why I'm here.
Definitely.
So Kevin Mwangi,
Yeah.
we don't have that many comments at the moment, but Kevin Mwangi is asking where he can get vegan butter.
Vegan butter. That's a very interesting question. Very interesting and important question.
I think you can get it in the shop.
Yes, you can. So this is the thing. There's been a lot of advancement in the culinary arts and cuisine generally. So we have nuts. Yeah, we have nuts. We have things like cashew nuts. We have almonds. So
Well, I think the concept is as long as you can make milk, it can come in
exactly.
butter.
So especially, and the common one I know is cashew nut butter. So it's just the way it is made. It's like thickened into a paste.
Oh yeah, when you go to Carrefour,
Yes.
they have a stand there where they make the butter for you as
Yes.
you're watching. So you can say you want, let's say, cashew butter, they'll make it for you.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
you may be asking yourself, why cashew nut butter?
Yeah.
Cashew nuts have their natural oils. So when you blend it and grind it over a certain period of time, then it forms that sort of a paste, a buttery kind of a taste. And now it adds a really good depth of flavor when you're cooking your vegan meals.
Oh.
Yeah. So Kevin, I hope we've answered your question accordingly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He's asking if there's vegan, organic sugar or coconut sugar.
Vegan, organic, all sugar is vegan.
Yeah. I
So
think
just probably different types. Because I think we should distinguish between vegan and plant-based. Vegan is not necessarily the diet, it's an ethical thing. So people are vegans because they don't want to mistreat animals, they don't partake in the mistreatment of animals.
Yeah.
That's why you hear vegans don't take honey, because bees are endangered and so on and so forth. But the diet itself is a plant-based diet, which means there's nothing dairy or animal related in
About
it.
it.
Yeah. So sometimes people are not necessarily vegan, but they're plant-based.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
So
now you know.
anything that comes from plants, anything that doesn't have an animal product, be it milk or meat or whatever,
Yeah.
that is vegan, that is plant-based.
Okay, so I guess we need to first understand, when you're getting into something, know what it is.
Exactly.
And if it's a lifestyle, prompt yourself
Yeah,
and
do your
educate yourself.
research.
All right.
So that you can also get to know where you can find your alternatives.
Definitely.
So it doesn't make sense to want to start something, especially diet-based, and you don't know where you're going to get your alternatives from.
Yeah, for sure,
Yes.
for sure. So learn what you want to get to, and I'm sure you'll be better. And the alternatives, and I heard it's actually costly kidogo when you actually go into a given lifestyle that you don't know what you're going into. Let's say vegan.
I really wouldn't say costly, because you see, if you're moving from a meat-based diet and you want to transition into a vegan-based diet, there's no difference really because you're cutting off
the
what
same
you're
cost.
doing there, and the same cost implication is going to be factored into the new diet.
And also, I think it depends on what you think a vegan diet. That's why we're saying research is important.
Yeah.
Because when you look at our African food traditionally, maybe apart from meat, a lot of it is vegan. The things we eat, a lot of them, when you look at the recipes, they're vegan. So I think we overcomplicate things. Sometimes you just hear quinoa and then you're like, oh my goodness, that is, so quinoa, what. It's not complicated. Even rice and beans and vegetables, that's a vegan diet. Yeah.
So many things, guys.
Yeah.
It's too simple. Anything else, Tidy? I think right now they're coming in on Amuka. So no problem. I'll call you in a few minutes.
Right, so Brian has really helped us here with achieving the kind of texture that we're looking for. So you see, when we started, it was a bit lumpy and tough and difficult to handle. But now you can see how it's crumbly and it has a very good texture and scent as well. So we're going to improve the texture a bit. So we have some oats. From Monday, the overnight oats. So those were the example of the oats that we can actually use. You can even use jumbo oats or rolled oats, like whichever kind of oats. The same oats that we can use for even making our granola at home.
So this is achieving, what is it? This is achieving seasoning.
So it's
Texture.
Sorry. When you're having different kinds of meals, it's they usually have different textures, like the way you taste it, the way you eat it, the way you want it to feel in your mouth.
Right,
So it's always so food and texture is it wouldn't make sense to say, for example, a butternut soup.
Yes.
A butternut soup is smooth and silky and a bit heavy. You don't want a butternut soup with lumps of butternut. So texture for soup is smooth and silky and creamy.
Soup. Okay. All right.
So that's the same thing we want here.
All right.
So we're going to add our oats and our nuts.
All
and then we're just going to mix it and then pour it over our pineapple.
That's an interesting one.
So guys at home, this is a very interesting and an improved way of having your crumble. So we're just going to roughly mix it. We want to incorporate everything, and then we're going to spread it over our cast iron skillet that we've been using since Monday.
Skillet, the pans.
Yes.
The ones that you need.
And also, if I may add,
Yes.
sometimes you can, if you want to, depending on how much you like your spices, you can put some spices in the topping and also in the fruit itself.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I can put my spices on that and on this as well.
Yeah.
And then
Or you can do either or.
Yeah, exactly. Like when we're making. So guys, we have different kinds of crumbles. We can make crumble with different types of fruit.
Yeah.
We can have a berry crumble where you mix blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. Like you can have different kinds of crumbles.
now avocado.
I really don't think so.
Jaribu
I don't think so.
alafu
Cooking avocado is. I feel like it's a very lackluster way of dealing with that particular fruit.
All right.
But if you like avocado cooked, I mean, that's fine, but I have my reservations. So we're going to pour this over.
Okay.
As I was still explaining about the crumbles.
Yes.
So you can even have an apple crumble. So when you're having an apple crumble, just go get the different kinds of apples. You can get the green apple, the pink lady, the very grainy kind of apple. It's good when you have a different mix.
Okay, just have it in there and then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your preference, right?
So really your preference, but you want to explore all the apples.
That's the goal of.
Exactly.
All right. No problem.
Like the way we mixed mushrooms, you can mix, you can mix very many things.
Oh, in your dish.
So what you want to do here,
Okay.
you want to make sure you're covering all your fruit.
Okay.
You want to cover all your fruit and make sure it's well coated and well layered. So you want an even layer. You don't want some sides that are heaped and some
Very
sides that are
flat
not.
and equally
Exactly.
distributed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
If you haven't
this-
noticed, by the way, I'm using, kitchen vocabulary slowly.
You're learning.
It comes with the territory.
You guys still remember our mantra? No.
No color,
No.
no flavor. So what we want to do with this, we want to put it in the oven.
Okay.
You want a temperature of a bit like 180 degrees Celsius. This should cook for roughly 45 minutes, between 45 minutes and 1 hour, depending on the size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you
So this would take averagely 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to put this in the oven.
So as this cooks, I'm sure you're jumping over to Angie's side.
Definitely.
All right.
So
Yes.
now we're going to move on to our Victorian sponge.
Yes.
I think also it's important to mention always before you start baking, preheat your oven. So this oven has been on for a while. It's been preheating because okay, for the crumble it's a bit different because it doesn't have any leaveners, but the cake has leaveners.
What's leavener?
A leavener is the raising agent. You remember on Monday we talked about baking soda and baking powder.
Yeah, I do.
This cake we only use baking powder
No.
because we're using self-raising flour, which
Yes.
already has baking powder,
Powder.
powder, and salt.
Okay.
And then we'll be adding a bit more baking because the goal is to make it airy. So the more spongy.
Alright.
The more ways you can incorporate air and lift, the better.
All right.
So we'll be using self-raising flour, and to help it a bit, we'll use a bit of baking powder.
Okay.
Why I'm saying it's important to preheat your oven, never, ever, 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 ever,
Ever.
put a cake in a cold oven. Because what happens with baking powder, it starts reacting. It reacts to a liquid and heat. So as soon as you introduce a liquid to your baking powder,
You're
am
done.
I losing you?
No, I'm there. I'm still there.
As soon as you introduce a liquid to your baking powder, it has started the reaction. If you put it in a cold oven, by the time the heat is catching up, it will,
yes.
it will have already.
We want to be on our tool.
Yeah, so it has to.
Okay.
That's also another reason we prepare our baking tins.
Okay.
Usually, sometimes you can buy
I've noticed
parchment.
you've packaged
Yeah,
something.
you can buy parchment, which is in town. It's very cheap. You'll
Yeah.
get so many for a little, very
Cheap.
Yeah, it's very cheap. But if you don't have access to that, you can just use a bit of butter or margarine. Spread it on your pan, on your baking tin.
Or Vaseline hivi.
See,
Okay,
not
Vaseline.
Vaseline.
No, but I'm getting the concept.
Yes.
And
And then flour.
Okay.
If you're making a chocolate cake, you can use cocoa powder.
Okay.
And then spread it around, remove the excess, and your cake shouldn't stick.
Ooh, that's nice.
So yeah, so we'll start with our wet ingredients.
Okay.
You remember on Monday I told you sugar is a wet ingredient?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So, do
Wait,
you?
I forgot. I'm lying to you. I forgot that actually sugar is a wet ingredient.
Yeah, sugar
and
is a
salt
wet
is a dry one.
Yes, it's a dry
Oh,
ingredient.
yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
it
that's
is.
nice. That's nice.
So we'll start with our butter.
Okay. So at which part does Victoria come in? Because you know we're making.
It's only I think, if I'm not wrong, it's a Victorian spot. It's a British cake.
Oh, so
And
Victoria
there's
is British.
Queen Victoria and all those things. But you do your research.
Okay,
So we'll start with our room temperature butter. When you're baking, for cakes, it's very important that your butter is room temperature. You see this? Yeah.
Oh,
So we'll start with our room temperature butter. And then we will add in our sugar.
Okay.
We're going to do something called creaming.
Creaming. Okay.
Which is basically mixing your sugar and your butter. Also with a Victorian sponge, it's an even number of everything. So even butter, even sugar, even flour. Sometimes some bakers will use an even amount, an even weight of eggs, because a large egg, which we'll see in most recipes for baking, is about 50 grams out of the shell. So for this, they'll weigh the egg to be the same amount as the other ingredients.
That's interesting.
But for us, we do that today.
We do this. We eyeball. And then I didn't know actually my eye has weight. No, okay, yeah, it does have weight. But how do you know my metosha this much level, my eye?
There are different ways of breeding eggs. So there are small eggs, there are medium eggs, there are large eggs, there are extra large eggs.
Okay.
In most baking recipes, they'll tell you to use large eggs, which are about 55 grams each. And then out of the shell, they're about 50 grams.
Okay, so.
But it doesn't really make that much of. If you have small eggs, you can still use them.
It will still achieve the goal you
It
want.
won't affect your dish too much.
All right.
So we have a mixer. Before I got this, I used to use my hand.
So the traditional way.
Yeah, just with my hand and I'm
Put
whistle.
some muscle into
But
it.
now because of technology, we'll use this.
Yeah.
We're creaming,
Parents,
but we don't want
technology.
to overdo it. We just want them to combine. Because if you overdo it, your butter will melt. And then when it goes into the oven, it will be melted, and then the heat will be too high, then it will separate, and then the cake will sink.
We want unity.
Yeah, we want the cake to rise even.
All right.
So it will sink and it will be oily.
Okay.
Dense.
No problem.
So we don't want to overdo it. So sorry.
In a magika.
Just be careful. So it might pour, it's okay. So you just want to, Yeah, it's okay now. It's coming together.
Yeah, it is.
We want to whisk it till it's combined. Everything is combined.
So Angie, we're using butter
Yes.
for this particular
Cake.
cake.
Yeah.
Say for example, butter is not easily accessible to me.
You can use margarine. Yeah. You can use margarine.
Wait, margarine.
Especially if you're practicing and you might fail, just use margarine because it's cheaper.
Oh yeah, definitely. You
Yeah.
learn, you fail, but you keep trying.
Yeah, guys, we didn't wake up and we made these things and they just turn out. So we've had
Yeah.
some failures,
Yeah.
and I think failure is also one of the good things to show you that you're making progress. Because when you fail, then you get motivation to do better.
I remember the first time I failed, nilikuwa pika chapo. Tulikula kitu imeunga. Literally, unga tu.
Molecular crisps.
I think so. Tuliumwa na tumbo.
So we're going to add in our eggs.
Okay.
Usually we add them in one at a time so that you make sure they're incorporated well. You don't want to add all your eggs in
bit,
and then you'll have like yellow egg yolks.
No, we don't want that.
Don't want. So one egg at a time, making sure after every mixing, it's incorporated well.
Okay, so I would. Oh, okay. Good.
For now. So incorporate that first egg.
So what the egg does is what in this?
So an egg has, okay, I was coming to that, but let's talk about it. Let's talk
please.
about it. So we have the egg yolk, which is the fatty part of the egg.
Yeah.
It gives your cake moisture and richness. And then you have the egg white. When you whisk an egg white, which we'll do in a few seconds,
Okay.
you're incorporating air into the egg white.
Okay.
And that air also helps with lift. Like we've talked about it being a sponge.
yes,
so
yes.
anywhere you can get your lift from,
More air,
you get
better.
your exact. And this creaming process, you see where you started with very yellow butter,
Yes.
but it's becoming lighter and lighter
White
when
and
incorporating
yeah.
air into this.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I see.
So your next egg,
Okay.
So Angie,
Yes.
I'm sure the guys at home who are not egg fans. So is there an alternative that we can use for this particular cake to actually, replace the egg?
well, yes, you can use alternatives, but this is something I have to say. Sometimes people expect for the alternative to yield the exact same result.
Right.
It will not. A lot of the time, it will not. And you have to be comfortable with that.
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes
you
the
can't buy a
texture will
Toyota and
be.
expect you're driving a Ravo. No, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't always work like
Same
that.
principle?
Yeah.
Alright.
So you have to keep clearing your sides and bringing it back into the mixture.
So wait,
that you make sure everything
sorry
has
to
mixed.
interject. I'm sure you were asking alternatives that we could have other than eggs.
Yeah, and I remember we mentioned it when we were doing the pancakes.
Oh yeah, you can have bananas.
So you can have bananas.
Chia seeds. You can
Chia
have
seeds,
flax
flax
seeds.
seeds.
Yeah.
It will actually serve us as
So it's a
eggs.
good replacement to
Oh,
egg.
okay.
And also if you can have access to applesauce,
Yeah.
very, very nice.
It will be the better.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So we've added in our vanilla.
That was vanilla?
Yeah.
I thought vanilla was white.
No, vanilla is okay. It also depends on the vanilla you're getting. There's a white vanilla.
Okay, so.
And then this is just a bit of lemon juice. These are things that, because this cake is a blank slate, you can do anything to it. And
Canvas.
today we're making it coconut and lemon. So, yeah, it's a blank canvas. So we're adding just a bit of lemon juice, but make sure not to overdo it.
Yes.
Because you don't want to change the consistency of the cake.
We want it-
Again, if it's too watery,
Yeah.
it'll sink in the oven.
Messed up. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll incorporate that.
All right. It looks very colorful.
Yeah, so now these are our wet ingredients. We're going to, you see, you don't want to overdo it. And then we're going to now do our dry ingredients.
Yes.
So this is our flour.
Our flour.
A lot of recipes will tell you to sift in your flour, which is just after you've weighed it, just get a sieve, and then pour in your flour, a bit of salt,
Okay.
just a little bit of salt, not too much, because it already has salt.
About a pinch.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't a pinch. That
teaspoon.
was.
That was just a bit, like a quarter teaspoon.
Okay, sound.
And then this is our baking powder.
Yes,
Powder. We're going to use a quarter teaspoon. This is a quarter teaspoon.
Na ile kijiko niko nayo home.
Apana.
Nitumie, yeah.
Apana.
Yeah, when baking, I think it's always essential to use the recommended measurement.
Okay.
So baking is all about the measurement.
Ooh.
If you go beyond the measurement, then you're going to have surprises. Yeah.
You won't eat what
So
you
you
want
don't
to.
want to use the wrong measurement, and then when your cake or whatever it is that you're baking comes out, and you're asking yourself
I
questions.
didn't cook this.
Si nilitumia teaspoon ile ya kawaida. Yeah. So it's always important to use the right equipment to make whatever it is you're making. So if it's a measuring cup, if it says 1 cup, use 1 cup.
Don't improvise.
Don't improvise with the cup at home. Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
And we'll also show you how to measure using a measuring cup because we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
For sure.
So you see, we've incorporated our flour. It's now become
It's coming together.
Yeah, it's coming together. Again, we don't want to overmix it. Remember on Monday we said when you overmix flour, you start to form gluten.
Yes,
and
yes,
gluten
yes.
leads to a
It's
a
not
tougher
good.
recipe.
So that will make our cake dense.
Yeah, a denser outcome.
Yeah, you know, like, so I'm sure maybe some of you have had such experiences at home. You've made cake and say, especially things like banana, yeah, and you cut into it and you see the parts that are well done, and then there's a part that is, like it looks uncooked.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the density.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also your chapatis. Like if
Yes.
you have very tough chapatis, it's because you've overmixed them. You know the way you kanda for 7 minutes?
uko hapa tu mzee.
Don't do that. You're overdoing it. And that's
Do
why
it
your
subtly.
chapatis are tough.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is desiccated coconut. As we said, we're making a coconut and lemon cake.
Oh yeah. So for
So
those
this
people
is-
who are not for alternatives are always there.
They're always, you can do anything you want with it.
So.
So,
Remember, whatever way you feel,
We go.
go ahead.
yeah.
All right.
So we'll just mix it in a bit to make sure it's inside.
So if it was the manual way tungekuwa hapa tu manze. Hapa tu.
We would have
No,
done
you would have been with a wooden spoon. Just
Yeah.
a wiko.
And go round. Okay.
Yes, and then make sure everything is incorporated. And then finally, okay, now because this doesn't have to be a normal step,
Yes.
but because we're using lemon curd today and we have a free egg white, usually it's like I'll recommend for 1 layer of this cake, 1 egg white.
Okay.
So we'll
as
have
the layers go, egg white.
Yeah.
Keep it reserved.
Yeah, so we have about 1 egg white here. We're going to whisk it a bit.
Okay, let me do this for you.
Tilt it to the side so that the air enters. Bigger.
So use some
Kabisa, na nguvu.
I'm trying.
Round and round,
Okay,
like you're
sawa,
making a scrambled egg.
Oh, basically
Yes.
napika breko.
But so we're adding our egg white because we said we want more lift, and this will help it. But it's also important to note that whereas the egg yolk gives you moisture, the egg white dries your cake. So if you over whisk it, that's why we know it's okay. I'll tell you when to
I got
want
scared.
it to have some foam.
Yeah, you want it to be a bit foamy and a bit runny.
All right.
Because if you overdo it, you'll put it in your cake. I've done it before. That's how I learned. You'll put it in your cake, and then it will dry your cake out.
We don't want dry.
You don't want a dry cake, you want a moist cake.
Keep interacting with my mouth.
Yes, exactly. So just keep whisking it a bit more. We want the air to enter.
Yeah, it looks really, soapy.
Yeah, it's starting to look.
So that's the foam.
Oh, that's the
Yeah,
part.
that's
Okay.
the-
And that's what egg white does.
Yeah.
So you can use egg white to make
Meringue.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's like an egg white cookie. Basically.
Oh, sorry. Just a
Or
different one.
macaron, the French one, that one.
Yes.
Yes, which is just egg white
Yeah, I know it.
and almond flour and sugar.
Yeah. So
Oh, so okay.
So the egg basically can give us a lot of things.
You have
Yeah.
options in
Yes,
this
we
thing.
have so many options with the egg white and the egg yolk.
Almost, it's
Yeah.
almost
So
there.
we have so many options that we can take from the egg in itself.
Yeah.
So it's just not we can use the egg for making breakfast at home. Like there's so many things we can incorporate it in.
For sure, you have a lot of options having egg white.
Exactly.
Oh, I didn't know
So,
that.
so like
More
the same
uses.
way we're going to make the basic English cream, we're going to use egg yolk as opposed to the egg white.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So you see it's a bit foamy. We don't want to overdo it, again, because we don't want to dry our cake out.
No, we don't.
And then because we've incorporated an amount of air into the egg white,
Yeah.
we want to fold it in. We
Fold
don't want
it
to
in.
mix it again with the mixer.
No.
That's why we're putting it in at the end.
Oh. So what are we achieving when we?
We're just incorporating now the air that you've created into the batter.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. That's actually very interesting.
So you see, this is very simple. It's not complicated.
No, it's not. It's not.
So clean your thing as much as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
So guys at home, I'm sure some of you may be feeling that, I'm not much of a baker. I really don't enjoy baking. It's always important to give it a first shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for example, for
Yeah,
myself,
sorry.
I was never interested in baking. I never had interest in baking because I didn't have that patience of just waiting for the cake to cook. And you see, the difference between me and cake is, or rather with cooking regular cuisine and cake, you can do so many things to food compared to cake. Because cake, once it's in the oven, that's it. Yeah. So always just try. I'm a self-taught chef, so I learned a lot through social media and through practice.
For real?
Yes. So when you're at home and you have access to the internet, don't use the internet to watch unnecessary things. You can go on YouTube and learn how to make a cake. So that's where we learned, and that's where we kept on practicing.
That's actually awesome.
Exactly.
Self-taught.
Yes. So you don't
So
necessarily
we're
have
both-
to go to school to
learn
be
what
able
you
to
love.
learn these things.
Yeah.
Use the resources that you already have at your disposal so that you can actually achieve a lot.
Time's actually easier for you to learn what you want to do.
Actually, both of us are self-taught. So all these things we've just learnt along the way.
No culinary school.
Yeah, so you see the consistency has changed. I just want to show you how to fold in, because people are like, what is folding in?
Yeah.
Just go around, because it's gentle. You want to do it gently.
Yeah,
Just
like
go
a baby.
around. Yeah, like a baby. And then you cut in the middle,
Okay.
lift it up, and then go around again until everything is incorporated.
Okay.
Now we will put it in our baking tin. You're
So
done.
just once too?
Yeah, just put it in your baking tin.
Okay.
Everything.
Yeah. Mwaga ndani tu.
Mwaga ndani kabisa.
Okay.
And then,
So we'll spread it, I'm sure.
yeah, we'll spread it because this is a bit of a thick batter. There are also different consistencies of butters. Some are very thin, some are thicker. So, yeah,
Okay.
get as much as you can out of the thing because we don't want to waste any cake.
No. In
Yeah.
the kitchen, we don't waste resources.
Yeah, we're not trying to waste things.
I remember
Try and
that.
use everything.
Yeah, and then spread it out. Just uniformly.
Presentation again.
Yes, and also just for baking purposes.
Oh, okay, so.
Yes.
Yeah, you want it when it's actually, rising. You want it to have an even sort of rise.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's Wait, and toppings?
not yet. These are
Not
for
yet.
when the cake
Oh, I'm
is
going ahead.
So Angie, I have a
Yes.
question
Yes.
concerning baking, and I think that's also probably something that guys at home probably have in their heads. So I remember when I previously started baking.
1 second before you finish, so that you can put it in the oven.
Right.
Before you put it in the oven, there are bubbles in this, there are bubbles. And you know we've said we want air,
Yes.
but we don't want big bubbles through. Have you ever cut into a cake and then there's a big...
Kuna shimo fulani kawa
Yeah,
waliweka
so
sijui
usually
nini.
to help with that, we... A bit, so that the air bubbles come to the surface,
Okay, right.
and as it bakes, they
go.
pop and they go.
All right.
So just a bit, and then you put it in the middle of the oven,
Okay.
so that it gets heat from up
And below.
down.
Okay.
And it will bake for about 20 to 30 minutes,
Okay.
depending on your oven.
All right.
So as Mike was saying,
Yes, so I wanted to ask, when I'm baking, say for example, just a sponge cake or a pound cake, there's this tendency of cake to form a dome. How can I avoid that? How can I
well,
avoid the dome shaping up?
one of the reasons I really like this sponge cake, it doesn't often form a dome,
Right.
because a sponge cake and a pound cake are similar but different. The difference is that a sponge cake will use a leavening agent.
Right.
A pound cake these days does, but traditionally it didn't. So whereas a sponge cake is even self-raising, even flour, even sugar, even eggs, a pound cake is even all-purpose, which has no raising agent, even sugar, even eggs, even everything.
Yes.
But nowadays they put a bit of leavener in the pound cake
Okay.
because it was a bit dense and all those things.
Right.
So because it doesn't have a leavener, I think that's why it will dome. If your cake domes, I know Mike doesn't like it when his cakes
We don't want cakes to be done.
I've had a very, I've had a struggle, and I think this is also the thing when you're self-taught. I've had a struggle with things perfection. I really don't like seeing the cracks and the cake doming up. So I've always been trying effort after effort after effort to actually just make sure my cake doesn't dome up. And I've also been trying to do some research. Until recently, I came across this thing called a baking even strip. So guys at home, a baking even strip is a very interesting tool that you can use to avoid those dome shapes. And it also adds to having the moisture of the cake. So you can easily find it at, there's this common cake shop in town, I think next to Kimathi. It's called Top Serve. And it's a tool that you use, you soak it in water, and then you put it around your baking tin.
Okay.
So once you put it around your baking tin, what that does is once it's in the oven, the temperature from the baking even strip will avoid the cake from puffing up, and it will lock in the moisture. But now you'll have to be very careful when you're using it, because once the cake is done, the moisture is sort of like going to be a bit too much, because the cake can easily crumble. So you have to really take your time in allowing the cake to cool, and when you're removing it from the baking tin, be very careful because it will easily fall apart.
Yeah.
So that's a very good tip to take at home. The place is Top Serve. I think it's quite affordable. It's about 500 shillings.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can use it over a very long period of time.
Yes, but to add on to that, if a cake domes, I know Mike is struggling for perfection, but there's really nothing wrong with a domed cake. There's really nothing wrong with it. If you want it to be flat, you can always level it with a knife. You can always cut the top.
Alternative.
Yeah, you can always just measure it and level it with a knife, or you can just have it like that, depending on who you're taking it to.
Yeah.
So there's really, like, I know it's a bit difficult for some people, but you can work with it.
Okay.
And it's okay.
It's
Yeah,
something.
and if you're thinking that it's going to be a waste by cutting the top part of the cake, you can crumble it and use it as a snack. So it's not much of a big deal. Yeah, it's not much of a big deal.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we're going to move on to the cream.
Right. So we're going to make the cream. We have egg yolk, as we were explaining earlier, and sugar and some milk. So this is about 2 cups of milk.
Okay.
It's about 2 cups of milk. We're going to light our cooker. So we don't want too much heat on this. So today is a bit different. I know so sometimes I usually use a flour agent, like corn flour or all-purpose flour to help in thickening.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's more or less the same thing. We just want the creaminess, the good richness from the egg yolk. So we're going to do it without. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the egg yolks and the sugar. So we're going to sort of cream it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Also, sometimes what people will do is they'll heat the milk up first to a simmer, and then they will add it to the mixture of the eggs and the sugar. And what that will do, as you add it, okay, you can't add it all at once because the eggs and sugar are at room temperature and your milk is hot.
Yeah.
So what we do at that point is called tempering. Tempering comes from that temperature.
Yes.
So you're just bringing up your eggs and your sugar to the temperature of your milk. Because if you pour all your warm milk at once into all the warm milk you have all at once into your egg mixture, you'd scramble the eggs. And we don't want scrambled eggs.
Exactly.
We don't want sweet scrambled eggs. We want a cream.
Okay.
So you have to temper the chocolate into the eggs, and then just by adding a bit at a time until your eggs are warm.
Okay.
And then you put it back into this thing.
Yeah.
And then you whisk it, or you use a wooden spoon to mix it until it has the proper consistency. The consistency we talked about, where it's on the back of the spoon.
Oh yeah. You check the thickness.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So guys at home, you may probably be wondering or probably thinking, can I just use the regular custard powder to actually make this? Yes, you can. It is allowed. But once you add a skill to to your cooking of making basic custard from scratch, then why not? So this is what we're going to do today. We were trying to avoid, quick stuff.
All right. Yeah, on the go.
Yeah.
All right.
So as you can see, our egg yolk and the sugar is well mixed. So we're going to wait for the milk to just warm up a bit, and then we'll keep on adding to, as she said, tempering.
No problem.
And then once it's all ready, we add it back.
And then?
And then now we're going to keep
we come
stirring.
with the
We're going to keep on stirring.
All right.
Yeah, and as we're waiting for the milk to come to temperature, you see we have boiling water here.
Yes.
I'm going to show you something called a double boiler.
Double boiler.
Yeah, so as I said, our cake is lemon curd and coconut. So we're going to make our lemon curd.
Okay. So what is the lemon curd again?
Lemon curd is like a lemon jam.
Oh, jam.
It's like a jam.
Okay.
So you can use it on your pastries, you can use it on
juice.
bread even, depending on how much you like lemon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have sugar.
Yeah.
We have sugar here.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys are what you're trying to follow along. You're having a book, your paper. Don't worry. Just check under your chair. No, I'm joking. Under the description, there's someone who's trying to help you follow up with what's going on and what to write and what to say. So don't worry, we got you again.
And here we have, like the way he's using egg yolks, we have 2 egg yolks here, and we have 1 egg white. So we have 2 egg yolks and 1 whole egg.
And 1 whole
with
egg.
the egg white.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll add those in there.
Itafanana ya Mike, isn't it?
Kaita fanana.
Because we have the egg white in it.
Oh, we didn't choose egg white here.
Yeah, and also this is lemon, and that is milk.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and then we'll add our lemon juice. There's a seed in here.
Wow.
But that's okay.
Haitaongeza kwa texture. Okay.
And then we'll whisk them together before we put them on, because we want to put them on simmering water. You don't want it to boil necessarily, and you don't want the water to touch the bottom of whatever you're using.
Yes, yes.
Because if it touches the bottom again, you're scrambling eggs. So we just want to whisk it together.
Creamy.
Yeah, want to whisk it together just so that we can minimize the.
Oh, I've noticed this one is more the egg yolk. Okay,
Yeah,
egg white.
but the egg yolks and the egg white will help it to thicken as you
go.
So as you can see here, our milk is good enough, so we'll just reduce this temperature.
Okay.
And now what we're going to do, we're going to add some of the milk here.
Upper.
So it's important to not add it like in a huge amount because we're doing what we're going to call tempering. And we don't want to cuddle the egg. We don't want to cook the egg.
Okay,
Yeah?
all right.
So we'll just add like tablespoon, like a bit, like 2 tablespoons at a go as we keep on stirring.
So
you can be helping me in adding.
And Andy, this is now what is called double.
So this is a double boiler. There's the water boiling underneath,
Yes.
and then there's this, because you don't want to expose it to direct heat. And then you'll just whisk it slowly, and it will cook, and it will thicken. And then it will do a thing called ribboning.
Ribboning.
Yeah, which I'll show you. That's how you know it's ready.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
That's actually interesting.
Yeah.
That you can actually, find purpose within a given time. Una boil maji ya kwenda kuoga ama ya kuchemsha ya kunywa. You could actually put this on top, and while you're cooking, waiting for the,
Yeah.
It's actually very interesting.
So you can add a tablespoon of some milk.
2 or 1?
Just 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So we want to be very careful. And guys, if it cuddles, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, there's a solution.
So
How do I know it's cuddling?
You will see.
you'll see.
It's
So
like a kamamala.
I usually have this mantra, and it's what I used when I started cooking.
Yeah.
Cooking is the art of adjustment. So even if things go wrong, you can always adjust by doing something extra.
Okay.
So, for example, if this cuddles and it cooks,
Yes.
we have a blender. So we'll blend it up so that it forms
It will be
that.
smooth again.
Yeah, so it's
Want
going
it
to
back
be
to
smooth again.
Okay, that's actually very.
So even if things go wrong, don't panic. There's
You
usually
can
a
fix
solution.
it. Okay, so.
Not every time, but usually there's a solution.
All right. So it's like, like you're writing with a pencil again. When you make a mistake, you're learning, but there's always a rub at the end of the
Exactly. So you can erase all the mistakes.
Hey, see what I'm doing there? Yeah. I didn't see kuanguka shule. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm okay.
So even if things go wrong, guys, it's fine. It's also part of the process. Always trust the process. Things go wrong, we can always start over again. right?
sure.
So when things don't go your way in the kitchen, it is fine. Don't feel deflated. Don't feel deflated. Don't feel demotivated that now I'm not even going to get into the kitchen again because 1, 2, 3 happened. It's part of the process. You have to learn. Like before a doctor or rather a surgeon perfects his art of surgery, he needs to have so many years of experience. So in like manner, a good home cook or a chef, then you can incorporate so many things.
For sure.
Yeah.
So like any craft, it needs you to practice, and then eventually
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as you can see,
it's becoming.
this is looking good. Yeah.
We want a cream out of this, right?
Yeah. So we're so pro tip: don't leave the milk warming up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we turned off the gas.
Oh, tulizima.
Yeah. We turned off the
I
gas
wasn't-
so
I
that
wasn't
when we're going to add this, then it doesn't.
Oh, it's the same temperature. We're keeping it consistent.
Yes.
All right.
So we don't want it too hot.
Yeah.
You can add another one.
Okay. And actually notice something about the kitchen. You know, it's actually applying to life in terms of consistency, about neatness, presentation.
Yes.
It applies outside there if you didn't know. So if you want, if you want to be presentable, practice kidogo, go to the kitchen and wanaume siogope mambo. Siogope, we can do this. I got you guys, eh? Again. I got you.
So I think so you can always test the temperature with your pinky finger.
Yeah.
So I think that is good enough.
So we'll add this here.
Yes. So I think we need to get a wooden spoon. Just right in the cupboard.
Here?
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Very nice. So we're going to add this, and you're going to keep stirring.
Okay, so Angie, what's actually becoming of what you're doing?
We're just waiting for it to thicken up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thicken up means becoming itakuwa too little.
Itakuwa thick because it's a jam.
Oh yeah,
We're
that's what you
making
want.
jam.
That's what you want.
So,
Is that how they make it?
okay, it's a curd, but it's like jam.
For my sake.
So we can bring the heat back on,
Yeah.
but on very medium heat. So now this is where we're just going to keep on stirring. Just be patient with it. Be patient with it.
Itaki asira.
Itaki asira. And you need to keep on stirring because if you leave it like that, then it's going to set and then it's going to easily cut as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want
keep interacting with it.
So keep interacting with it.
Wow.
So, Brian, you can keep stirring this gently.
All right. You gently stir.
So I think it's just like the way we were doing the bechamel, the white sauce.
Yes, I remember.
So because it had the flour, you have to keep on stirring it. You don't want the
we
flour
don't
to
be-
set. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm sure you guys are having questions, comments. That's your cue. That's your cue. Come close to me and tell me what guys are saying online about our artistry, of chefistry.
So while we're making this, then we can always give it the desirable taste that we want. So what we're going to do, we're going to add a bit of a teaspoon of some vanilla essence. Yeah, some vanilla essence. If you have access to vanilla extract, even the better. It's a bit costly, but it's also very, very nice when you incorporate it into things baking.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Add some flavors.
Yeah. So add some flavor.
Smells nice.
Yeah.
Smells nice. So Daiji, what are guys saying?
Okay, so yes, there are some comments coming through. I believe people are, following what you're doing, so they don't really have time to
write.
comment. Yeah.
So this one's the ones on the comment. Yeah.
No, I think they just want to know how much to put in, yeah?
Okay.
So Michelle Mudanya has asked for the measurement of vanilla extract.
Come again.
Michelle Mudanya
Right.
has asked for the measurement of vanilla extract.
So just a teaspoon or just a bottle top of this. Vanilla extract can also be very overpowering. So you want to go easy on it.
Okay.
You want to go easy on it.
Sometimes we also say just a splash.
Yes, just a splash.
So just a splash.
So keep on stirring.
Penina Origara said she's loving the cooking show. Angie, Mesakunga, Brian, and Chief Chef. That's awesome.
Thank
the
you.
pineapple. Oh, sorry. She's asking, won't the pineapple lose its nutritive value after heating?
No, it will not. So you see, pineapple is a fruit. And I know people usually have this thing of pineapple doesn't have to be cooked. I don't like my pineapple on pizza and such kind of things.
Yeah.
So the good thing with the crumble is a dessert, a sweet option. And when you expose it to temperature, then its natural juices actually come out and they actually make it taste better. Yeah? Not that it doesn't taste better in its original form, only that once we expose it to temperature of the oven and the crumble, then we have a very desirable taste. So it's not going to have a very weird kind of thing going on. Yeah.
Okay. That's actually interesting. People don't like pineapple on their thing.
They don't like pineapple on pizza.
What's wrong with you guys, man? What's wrong with you guys? It's healthy. You heard what Chef James said. The heat brings it out. You're not just like any, I'm done. What's next? Who's saying what?
Josephine Asewe asked, how many spoons of lemon juice do you use?
For the lemon curd? Yeah, I assume.
Well, for the lemon curd, I measured in grams, so I use 50 grams. For the cake, for 1 layer, I use 1 tablespoon. Tablespoon.
Okay.
And I'm sure people normally struggle with, measuring things in terms of why? I just keep doing it. Okay,
Keep asking.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm sure guys are normally struggle with, measuring.
Yeah. So I'll show you here quickly. When you have a cup, this is a cup.
Yes.
They come in different ways and shapes and forms. So, but this is 1 cup in the metric system. Yeah. So when you use it to bake, the reason I prefer grams and kilograms and such things is because they're more accurate.
Yeah.
You can buy a scale and it is accurate. With cups, people, depending on how you put your flour, your sugar, whatever in, someone might have 500 grams of flour, another person will have 700 grams of flour. So it's inaccurate, but there's a way to do it. Okay. You have let me get a spoon. You have your flour here. You're supposed to make sure it's loosened up. You're supposed to spoon it in, because this is 1 cup. So let's say we're using
so that's the easiest method,
it's the correct method.
Right way, okay.
You're supposed to spoon it in, and then when it gets to the top, you level it with a knife or your finger.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So let's say now it's taking time to get to the top, but let's say here let's assume it's gotten to the top. You level whatever, just at the level of
the finger. Okay.
Yeah, and that's how you measure. Or some people will dip it into the flour and then do that. But the most accurate method is to use a spoon.
All right. Any last words, Daiji?
Yeah, there are quite a few actually.
Let me see.
Michelle Mudanya is asking, for those who do not have kitchen scale, kindly tell us how many lemons to use for this and the lemon juice. I believe that's been answered.
So this is 50 grams is about 1 lemon, the juice of 1 lemon.
Right.
So this is ready.
Yeah.
You see the ribboning we were talking about?
Yeah, it's
this
thick.
is, you see when you do this and then it just slides like that.
Yeah. So
Just that, that's ribboning.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm sure.
we leave it to cool.
That's it, Daiji.
Yeah.
If there's anything, you just give me the sign and I'll holler at you.
Sawa.
Thank you so much, Daiji.
And then we're also going to put fruits on our cake. We're going to macerate our fruits. Macerating is just softening something up by putting a liquid in it. So we're going to add some lemon juice. And I know people say strawberries they're pretty, but they don't taste good. Like they've been overhyped.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Photos make them look too pretty.
Yeah. So when you do this, you're making them a bit sweeter.
By actually adding
Yeah, adding lemon and sugar. We're going to add lemon and sugar.
and sugar on
So
the
just a bit of sugar. You see I've eyeballed everything.
Yeah, I've seen.
But if you don't use lemon for strawberries, you can use balsamic vinegar.
Oh.
It's a sweet vinegar. It will complement your strawberry.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, then we'll add a bit of
Is
sugar.
this healthy?
Of course, sugar is not healthy, but
Okay.
in moderation.
Okay, sour. Don't
Yeah.
overdo anything.
So we'll just add a bit of sugar.
Okay, sour.
Okay, and then a bit of sugar to our blueberries.
All right.
And then mix them up. We're not tasting.
Sour.
So we can get a spoon and mix them up.
Right.
You put it in your mouth, yes?
No, I can't. Okay.
So we measure it. We mix it. It will take a bit of time for the sugar to dissolve, but when it does, the strawberries will be a bit sweeter, and there'll be like a syrupy thing on
Down
the bottom.
there.
Yeah, and they'll be softer.
Okay.
I think we can check on our cake now.
Oh, for sure.
Don't open your oven when the cake is starting to cook.
So you don't eyeball things like that ukipikanga keki.
Stia tu unaweka, alafu 5 minutes unacheck. The cold air from outside will enter and then it will displace the hot air from inside, your cake will sink.
Chemistry.
So yeah.
I think it applies, yeah.
So as our fruits are softening and macerating,
Okay.
we can move on to our cake.
To our cake, which we were cooking.
Yeah, so we can check.
All right. So we are checking any aje?
Yeah,
Because
if
you told me not to open.
Yeah, it's been a few minutes. It's been about 20 minutes, so we can check.
All right. Check yani ya kutoa, si check ya kuona kama imeiva.
Ni ya kuona kama imeiva.
Oh. It looks. Oh. First time.
So it's not. It's
bit
still
wiggly.
a bit wiggly.
Yeah, you can
Just
show
leave
guys
it
how
in.
it looks. You know, iki. Ama tusitoe nje.
Usitoe bado.
Okay.
So leave
Yes.
it in a bit.
It's wiggly. It's wiggly on top. It's like I'm helping you. It's visual.
It's
So-
still a bit wet. as
Yes,
cooked
yes, inside.
So Mike is still whisking, and then we'll make the final ingredient for the top of our cake,
Okay.
which is a coconut cream, which is
So, Brian, as you can see, it's thickening up.
Yeah, it does. It does look
Yeah.
thick though. And
thickening
yellow. Is
it
that?
looks like a cream. It's a cream.
Oh, that's the goal
Yes.
of this. Okay, so
So yeah, let me get
you're looking for?
my coconut milk, my coconut cream.
Oh, I put it in the fridge. I forgot to bring it. I don't know if it's possible.
I think you can.
I can run, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going
keep them
to
interactive.
we're going to whisk our coconut cream. Can use the whipping cream or double cream, but today because we're trying to keep it a bit, we're trying to remove the dairy from it. I know some people are lactose intolerant, so we're trying to remove the dairy from it, and I'm going to show you another option of making whipped cream with coconut cream. There are no dairy options for whipped cream in the shop, but I find that this tastes a bit better. If you don't like coconut, you can go for them. And the reason Brian put it in the fridge is because every time before you whip your cream, it has to be cold. The colder it is, the better it whips. And also, go for full fat. I know we're saying a lot of butter, a lot of fat,
Yeah.
but full fat whips the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't put it in the fridge because you told me.
I told you.
Oh, those are the reasons came with you telling
Yeah, but
me.
it's because we need it when it's cold.
Oh, okay.
It's the best when it's cold.
All right, you
So
serve.
our bowls are there.
Yes. They need to be clean, right?
It's okay. We can just whip it in one of these ones.
Okay.
Just a little bit of cream. You see how thick it is?
Oh, looks really nice.
Yeah.
It's like ice cream.
So yeah.
Yogurt, actually.
Yeah. And then rinse this for me, please.
All right, no problem.
And then we'll use a bit of powdered sugar. Powdered sugar is just sugar that has been ground until it's very fine, and it has a bit of cornstarch in it so that it doesn't clump. So we'll just use a bit. And also something people tend to do is over mix their cream so it becomes grainy. And as you said, cream is from butter. I mean, butter is from cream.
Yes.
So the more you whip your cream, the more you start to churn butter. So when it becomes grainy or it starts to separate, you're starting to make butter. So always don't overdo it, just do it a bit less.
Okay.
So we'll just whip.
So as Angie is whipping
Yes.
our creme glaze,
Cool.
our creme glaze, our basic English cream,
Okay.
is ready. And as you remember from how we were telling you on how to check, is the back of the spoon, finger, if it forms that, then we are good.
Yeah.
Right?
If there's a clear distinction between your finger and the space.
So we'll just remove it from the heat and let it cool.
All right. That's actually very, very interesting. And I've noticed you're actually very gentle, and you're even off the fire. You're consistently.
Yeah, so
You don't want
I
the
don't
lumps,
want
right?
I don't want the lumps, and I don't want it to look weird.
No, presentation.
I think also that's the thing with perfection. You always try to make sure everything is looking really good.
Wow.
So as we
As we are mixing this,
wait for that, we're
Yeah.
also going to
check on our
probably
pineapple.
check on the crumble.
Crumble. That's the word.
Since it's a bit labor intensive,
Yeah, it needs you to be constantly. Ushilapa, no, there's no time for you, to send a text. You're constantly concentrating on your food, and that's one thing I've noticed. When I know it's a problem, but concentration span ya watu haikuangi poa sana, but you know, in the kitchen, it's an interaction. It's like you're painting, you're drawing, you're talking to your meal, you're telling, so it's constantly, you need your concentration fully, and there's no space for you to, you know, chill kiasi, and you'll mess up everything.
Yeah. So you can continue to whisk it as I check on the cake.
Okay.
Tumia nguvu.
All right, so. Ooh, this smells nice though. It smells like a bakery. Ukipitanga hapo Rongai, kuna bakery inanukanga sana. Sinukia. Looks nice, smells nice though.
Yeah. So our cake is still baking, but we have another cake that we made here earlier.
Yes.
I want to show you how to test for readiness in your cake. You can use a knife, you can use a fork, you can use
Skewer,
a
metal skewer.
toothpick, and insert it. If you see here, there's a small
Hole.
Yeah. We used a knife, and then we inserted it into the middle of the cake.
Yeah.
Because that's the last part of the cake to cook.
To cook, yes.
So you insert it into the middle of the cake. If it comes out clean, your cake is ready.
Or if it's sticky, bado there's one.
Yeah, if there's still butter on it, your cake still needs to be in the oven.
All right.
And then also another thing is never decorate a hot cake or a warm cake.
Important thing
Never,
to know.
ever in your life. It has to cool down completely.
Why?
Because if you do it, your cream starts to melt. And then it becomes a mess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't be too excited.
Yeah,
wait
don't
for
be
it.
overly excited.
All right.
So we're going to get one of our pretty black plates.
All right. Ooh.
And then you can have a cake stand. If you have a cake stand, it's okay.
What's a cake? Oh, ni plate too.
Yeah, it's just a plate for cakes.
Okay.
So we're going to get
A plate for the cake.
a plate for a cake,
Yeah.
and then we're going to make sure it's clean.
Yeah.
So
And
I
then
can
we're
help
going
you
to-
with that.
I'm tired
To
actually.
get in some muscle in there.
Yeah. So we'll just carefully transfer our cake to our plate.
That was careful.
Was it?
That was interesting.
We'll transfer our cake to our plate. Now we have our lemon curd here.
Yeah.
We'll
This is our lemon curd.
This is our lemon
This
curd.
is the jam thing we were trying
Yeah.
to make earlier on.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you can use a spoon, you can use a butter knife, you can use a spatula, anything you want.
spade,
Yeah.
Not-
I mean, a spade is a bit.
a smaller spade.
Yeah, so mix it up to loosen it up. This one is a bit warm still.
Looks lumpy.
It does, okay, yeah, but it's just whisking. You can sieve it also.
Okay, so
Yeah.
no problem.
Ordinarily, we would sieve it, but because of time, we'll just mix it up a bit like
No
this.
problem. No problem.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, see, it's becoming smoother the more you mix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys can also see what we're doing. I'm speechless because I'm learning. Siwezi ongea kitu sijui. I'd rather watch and then comment when I know what it is.
Yeah, so just spread it on top of your cake,
Yeah.
like this. Because it's lemony, you can taste it with your finger.
I can?
Yeah.
Yeah. It tastes like jam though.
So you can see
Tastes good.
it's coming along.
Yeah, it looks thick
Yeah.
as we go. So what will you use this for?
So you're incorporating air and it's thickening it up and it's becoming like whipped cream.
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah.
So just
So
putting
just
it
a
on
bit
top.
more of your lemon curd, and then
All right. So my bosses are telling me your time is up. You need to go away.
you can you see this thickness and this consistency.
Yes.
It is perfect.
Okay.
You don't want it to be too much. You don't want it to be too little. So just this.
Okay.
We need a cleaner spoon.
All right. So.
Yeah.
So guys, with the crumble that we were doing, so as you've been seeing here, we've been sharing an oven, and because of that, we always have to give priority to cake. But for you to know the doneness of the crumble, it's the color. Remember, no color, no flavor. So the thing with butter and what it's going to do together with the flour, it's going to crisp up and make it golden. So once you see it's golden and it has firmed up, then that's when you know that it's ready. So you need to give it an allowance of 45 minutes. Try not to keep on opening your oven and closing your oven, because once you open the oven, then the temperature reduces, right? So you always have to pay a lot of attention to the temperature and the timings that you're actually removing the things in the oven. So doneness, it has to crisp up. You have to see the golden brown color. it's going to look really nice. Yeah. So always ensure that you take that into account. The crumbles usually go well with things like ice cream or the custard. So people enjoy it in different ways. And you may be asking yourself about ice cream. Isn't ice cream being bought in the shops? Probably this is a skill set for another day. We can actually make ice cream at home.
Ooh,
yeah?
that'll be nice
So
to know.
it's always good to know that we can have different and a wide variety of dishes that we can make at home as opposed to just buying them in the restaurant.
Okay.
So as we can see here, our cake is looking really nice.
Looks nice,
It's very
guys.
glossy, looks very tasty. I
Wow.
can't wait to indulge into it.
Just after this, we're going
So just randomly, we're placing our fruits that we macerated a few minutes ago on top of the cake.
Yes.
If you look at this is the syrup I was talking about. That's just the strawberry juices, the lemon juice, because the sugar also draws out, as you lick your fingers, the sugar also draws out moisture from
from the fruit itself.
Yeah.
And I think you can also play around with color. You can add some mint leaves, just throw in the mint leaves so you can have a pop of color. You always eat with your eyes.
Yes.
Eat with your eyes before,
Presentation.
So presentation is always key. And this is very simple, very easily available ingredients that are not very expensive. People usually say whipping cream is very expensive and we have coconut cream.
Yeah.
It's non-dairy. So over to you, Brian, as we wind up
This has been an amazing experience. As we've been up at Tuko say, at Tuko jokes, we've from Monday. We made food, we made breakfast, we came to lunch. Now this is basically dessert, and I would like to welcome Daiji. Come closer and just, let's come and tell me what our guys, you could taste this as amawezi ongea ukikula sawa. Tell me what guys are saying.
So,
To wrap up this whole, this whole dance,
yeah.
if it is.
So there's just two pending questions that
Yeah.
people are asking.
Yes,
Oh, sorry.
no problem. Sorry, we're off.
Yeah. So they were asking,
Yes.
there's someone asking, Stephen Yakondo, this is Hazel, I'm using Dad's phone. Please send the recipes from Monday until Friday.
Yeah, definitely, we are sorting that out.
Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
We were sorting that out, guys, from Monday and Friday, and Wednesday, we'll sort you guys out.
Yes, and then for Chef MJ,
Yes.
Phyllis Wanjira is asking how much milk is put into the custard.
So the custard, we did 2 cups. 2 cups of milk.
All right, any parting shots? From you? Yeah, from you. Do you see how down does this smell?
It smells amazing, guys. I wish you were all here to taste, but stay home, Corona, stay safe. We'll tell you how it tastes.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. So this is the end, guys. You don't know how I feel. Whoa, it's about to go down, and you guys remember, it has been a pleasure working with you guys. I'm sure you guys have some few words to say before we go, Angie.
We will post a picture of the finished product, of the crumble,
yeah.
on our social medias, on the church, on the ambassador social media page.
For sure.
Yes. And it's been fun cooking, although sometimes time went away from us, but it's been fun to be here. Thank you so much for inviting us.
You're welcome.
I hope people have learned something, and I hope we can do this again in the future.
For sure. Thank you so much, Angie. Chef MJ.
So for myself, I think it's been a spectacular experience. This is something that I look forward to doing probably in the near future. It's something that we've always worked with Angie to try and bring together, but we thank God for the resources and the availability of things that have been made for this. Hope Channel Kenya, thank you very much for the
kitchen.
mobile kitchen.
Yes.
Very nice. Yeah. So we look forward to engaging with you guys on our social media handles. And we can always make vibrance to food in the near future. So thank you very much.
Amen. Thank you so much. Shout out to Mama Billy. Manze, you came through for us for utensils. I wanted to say that. because,
Yes, and
honestly-
also happy belated birthday to Billy.
Yeah.
He wanted us to say that.
And also
yes,
Gladys.
and also Gladys Ombongi.
Please, thank you for coming through.
She's responsible for most of these things.
Yeah, she's been very
and we
instrumental.
thank her so much. She's been a force.
For sure, we're not able to do this alone. We have a crew behind us, and
And the production as well.
it has been amazing. We are done. We're talking too much. I'm being told go away. Guys, remember, if you have any questions, You know, we are there on Instagram, Hello Ambassadors, for them for sure. We will write them down, and we will see you when we see you. It's on the restaurant, somewhere in your kitchen. Goodbye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.